Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex. Lord, the Falcons play the Raiders tonight, and which is a very, very pivotal moment. Not a lot of good things happened on Sunday. Most notably, the Bucs ended up going out there and obliterating the Chargers, which is what the Falcons should have done a few weeks ago if they didn't have force. So the Falcons, not only do they not control their own playoff destiny, things are already looking bleak, and they will basically be obsolete if they lose to the Raiders. But I want to talk about this interesting report. And the assumption has always been that Kirk Cousins, the reason that they're going with Kirk Cousins and continuing with him is because he gives the Falcons the best chance to win right now. There has been no refuting reports until just before the weekend began, where Jordan Schultz came out and said he has had Falcons players tell him to his face that Michael Penix Jr. is the best quarterback in the building. Now, who these Falcons players are, obviously anonymous. We have no idea. Still, very, very damning indictment. And Schultz, while he might not be, the Woj of the NFL, he's quickly developing a reputation for being a very big NFL insider. And if he says something like this and puts his reputation on the line, I tend to believe that's true.
He said he added something, which is even more damning, that he believes that the only reason the Falcons aren't making a quarterback change is because of optics. That is so on brand for this team, this organization, since Arthur Blank has been the owner, that it makes a lot of sense. Like, I don't think anybody would be shocked if this was exactly what was being said. Michael Penix is getting reps. He's certainly probably the scout team quarterback facing the Falcons starting defense week in and week out. Kirk Cousins doesn't face the starting defense. That's not how the NFL, that's not how any team at any level operates. So, Michael Penix is getting first team reps against real NFL starters. That would be the Falcons starters, so I don't think that, suggesting that this report is true is crazy. Even if Schultz isn't the Rappaports or the
but he's getting up there.
He is high enough for him to say something like this. This could mean career. I don't want to say it's career suicide, but it would knock him down several pegs.
Yeah, it would be for him to bold-facedly lie when he's had this kind of rise in the NFL.
This is one of the biggest stories in the NFL.
The point is, I think we're both saying is it's true. I have absolutely zero reason to believe that at least some players. Now, who those players are, that could obviously say. If it's just some random second or third stringer or something.
The scenario also is Michael Penix isn't, facing a real NFL defense, meaning like the situations where the defense is trying to disguise schemes and do this and do that. And Michael Penix is trying to lead a drive. Like, he's playing against, it's a controlled environment where Michael Penix would thrive, where it's not here, it's all here. And these guys are seeing Michael Penix rip it into probably windows that Kirk Cousins couldn't even dream of doing. So I totally believe it. Now, that might not translate to the field because a lot operates up here on the field.
Yeah, it's glorified 7-on-7 in practice.
Yes.
That Michael Penix, especially given his physical attributes, and they're not being pressure. You throw Michael Penix into this game, even against the lowly Raiders, the entire pressure of the Falcons' playoff hopes and breaking a 6-year postseason drought and making sure it doesn't go to 7 years is now on a rookie that has never played a game. So there's a lot of other things. Not only are bullets now flying at you, you have pressure, you have expectations of now being the savior of this organization and the playoff hopes all coming down. So there are other reasons why. We've also explained why there are reasons why we should start Michael Penix. Throw the playoffs out there. It doesn't really matter if we make the postseason. This team's going nowhere with Kirk Cousins, and that's a sunk cost. It's the sunk cost fallacy, and that's certainly what Kirk Cousins has looked like. And optically, going from Cousins to Penix and watching Penix struggle would be a disaster, as I talked about last week. But it's already a disaster. I think that's what we're all trying to say here as Falcons fans is we're looking at this, the playoff scenario with the way the Bucs are playing and their schedule looks bleak. The Commanders would have to lose multiple games. We do play them, so there's an outside shot. We could claw our way back in the wild card race, but we have to win all our games, including a tough game. It already is a disaster. How much worse can it get with Michael Penix? Optically, whatever way. Optically, it looks terrible. The Falcons aren't going to avoid embarrassment if they miss the playoff again, whether they stick with Michael Penix or stick with Kirk Cousins or go to Michael Penix.
Yeah, it's just at this point for them about mitigating the bad look, the bad PR they're getting. And they'll do a damn good job of doing it because, they're communist flowery branch is what they are. Seriously, nothing gets out of there that they don't want. And that's another thing that I think, it's just there's no rhyme or reason to anything that this organization does. And I think that if you think Michael Penix is the guy and you got Raheem Morris up there saying that he is our future, but I don't want to, you see all these other organizations throw their rookies into the fire. Listen, generally speaking, if a rookie quarterback, it's a sink or swim type of a league. You have to support your rookie quarterback. There's no doubt about that. That's the biggest factor contributing to a quarterback's demise or success is the circumstances. It has nothing to do with him. I mean, Jaden Daniels has a good situation going on. He's succeeding. Bo Nix has a good situation going on. He's succeeding. Caleb Williams, coach, fired. GM, should have been fired. And he's struggling. And he was the number one pick, the consensus number one pick, other than maybe you. He was the consensus number one pick. That's the same exact thing for Michael Penix. There are things that need to be worked on in Atlanta, but the situation for a rookie quarterback to step in is much better than, if you go into the entire landscape of rookie quarterbacks stepping into a situation. Atlanta right now, as currently constructed, pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, good offensive line, great weapons, great running game. There's really not a lot that Michael Penix is going to get.
Things are not going to get much better.
Things are not going to be better next season. I mean, maybe slightly better because you have Zach Robinson getting kind of more accustomed. But it's not going to get so much better that all of a sudden, maybe the pressure situation. But at the end of the day, if you can't handle the pressure in the NFL, you ain't going to have success. So. I agree. I mean, he's had enough time. He's basically had an entire season learning this offense, going against the Falcons' number one defense. You've done pretty much everything you could possibly do to coddle this guy, and now you have an opportunity to insert him into the lineup and see what he can do. Like I said last week, though, I think a lot of it, as much as it has to do with mitigating risks and optics, it also has to do with fear, right? Because if Michael Penix goes out there and you start him the next 4 games, and you're Raheem Morris and you're Terry Fontenot, and you basically made the biggest decision this organization has made in a long time and going and getting Kirk Cousins and then compounding that by getting Michael Penix in the draft. And both of those teams after this year suck. What do you have to say to Arthur Blank at the end of the season that's positive? Absolutely nothing. It goes from disaster 101 to an 8 times bigger disaster exponentially. I think it stems a lot from fear from the guys who ended up making this decision and convincing Arthur Blank that it was the right decision.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think there's a ton of factors at play here. I think that's certainly a factor. I think, I think that Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot are just in over their heads. I think that's plain and simple, under one umbrella. They thought they were kind of playing chess when the rest of the league was playing checkers. The reality is they were playing tic-tac-toe while the rest of the league is playing checkers. And they're trying to be smarter than they really need to be. This was unprecedented. It was highly scrutinized. And all of the Falcons detractors who said this was stupid are, talking about drafting and signing a quarterback in the same offseason, saying it was stupid, are just being proven right. This isn't some hot take where they're like, oh, man, I really thought the Aaron Rodgers trade would work out for the Jets. Everybody and their mothers were scratching their head going, what are the Falcons doing? This isn't some, oh, man, I really thought the Falcons. Is anyone surprised? This is exactly what everybody said was going to happen is happening. There's quarterback controversy because you got a guy, first of all, Penix isn't some 3-year starter in college and then he's booted. He's been starting games since I was in high school, it feels like. This guy is, if he's not ready now, he's never going to be ready. And the fact of the matter is, if you start this process sooner, the sooner we can either, 1, find out he's not the guy, or 2, maximize his rookie contract. That's the goal. The goal should be to build an actual winner, a winner that can actually compete in the playoffs. That's not what we have now. Let's stop pretending it is. And the sooner that happens, the sooner I think we can all kind of have relief from this situation.
Well, there's a very good opportunity. Some questions can be answered, but most likely it's going to be pushed another week because we are playing the lowly Las Vegas Raiders, and Desmond Ridder has been confirmed starting tonight. And while, yes, it'd be very Falcons for them to lose, I just don't see that happening unless they really shoot themselves in the foot, which definitely could happen, but I don't see it happening. So this is only going to continue for at least a few more weeks.